Alright, little video. First thing I did in the blower, you know where the PCV valve is in it. I pulled this one out and I filled it up with JV basically and stuck it back in. So the internal PCV of this is blocked off because I don't ever want to have to service it. A $5 part involves removing the whole blower off. So, to make an operating PCV system, in the elbow back there, there's a port. It's a 1/2 inch port for a vacuum line. If it's behind the throttle body, that sees vacuum. Mostly when this thing's, at an idle or just barely cruising. So that vacuum line comes off right here, and there's a T off of it. And it tees. I've got it clamped to the evap solenoid. It also pulls into the catch can. So it's pulling, and the catch can comes off here straight into a PCV valve that's into the oil cap inlet. I got this idea from Robert Bates on one of his builds he did. And it's drawing fresh air from this side where in the valve cover, you can see I added another 1/2 inch port, and I got a line coming up over it, and it goes in to the back of the plate of the throttle body, because that is where fresh air port is for the PCV. That way fresh air is being pulled in through the engine and in the intake, and it's metered air. That's how a PCV system is supposed to work. So it's a perfectly working PCV, but I showed you this to show you how I've got the extra vacuum line pulling for my evap. You could probably message Robert Bates and he can show you his video on how he did his. He didn't have to add the extra vacuum line source. There's a vacuum line source on the Gen 5 blowers that is usually specifically for where the evap solenoid connects into. You can tap that port and put a fitting in it and have a perfectly good vacuum port, which is really no different than what I did there. It's just intake vacuum. So that's how I did the vacuum system on this for the evap and the PCV. It works nicely. I gotta come in here with some zip ties and kind of just snug a few things up. This side's a mess, mostly because of that PCV system, but good catch cam, and it's got a drain valve. So yeah, that's a perfectly working good. That way, if my PCV valve ever goes bad or something, all I gotta do is change it out right there instead of having to pull the blower off to change it. But I'm waiting to get my check in the bank here later so I can go buy some fluids and credits and all that and get it fired up. Anyways, I just figured I'd show you that. So I did have my evap not connected for a bit, and yeah, it'll throw a code, an evap code, because it needs to see vacuum. I wouldn't connect it to the bottom port because that sees boost, and you don't want to shoot pressure into it. It needs to either be atmospheric or sees engine vacuum. So, and it works fine.